Those dumplings you ate yesterday looked really good. You darn right they were. Oh my gosh. Never had dumplings as good as that place is. Incredible. All right. Let's see here. Oh boy, excuse me. All right, there we go. Let's see. Oh, there's Bobo. Look, I got nice photos of Bobo. Cute baby. All right. Let me see if I have anything tagged. I doubt I do. I was busy yesterday. It looks like one thing. I got one thing. There it is. NEC Director Kevin Hassett says Trump is going to be announcing a lot of good news about the economy this week. Okay.
There's
no idea what it could be.
a huge amount of positive news that the president is going to be breaking this week about the economy. You know, we've got a person who actually approached the studio with me, walked with me, who's tracking the openings, the groundbreakings for the new factories that are, you know, in the trillions of dollars of announcements that the president's been making. And we're up to almost 30 of those that are actually the groundbreakings have happened. And so there's a lot of positive news that's positive for people's jobs, for people's incomes, and for inflation. And President Trump is just going to go out there and remind people of that. But in the end, again, going back to the eye on the horizon, that President Trump's economic policies were profoundly popular just before COVID in his first term because he had $6,500 of income growth after the big tax cuts. Yep. And so right now we're going into next year where the typical person who's got no tax on tips, no tax on overtime is probably going to see an extra $1,600 to $2,000. A lot of that will come as tax refunds in the beginning of the year. That kind of stuff is going to make it so that people are going to look at their wallets and say, oh boy, this guy's really making me better off. And in the end, that's more important than any poll. The final thing I got to say is that we did look at a lot of the sentiment, the softer indicators over the last few weeks, and we found a pattern that I'm sure you guys could find a chart that would show, which is that consumer sentiment it tends to crater when there's a government shutdown. And so we have sort of back-to-back 4% quarters coming in, and then we got the government shutdown and all the chaos related to that. And the sentiment indicators went down, but the hard indicators really didn't. And that's a pattern that we've seen over and over again.
I wonder what it's going to be. I have to assume it's going to be more factory deals and whatnot. Just a continuation of what we've already seen. It'll be good. Definitely be a good thing. I don't think it's going to be any kind of groundbreaking news. It's going to change anyone's, all of our lives anyway. It's definitely going to change some people's lives. It's going to get some good jobs for people. So that's good. All right, let's see. Down in the bottom of Miss Stiff's pile here. Oh, boy. Excuse me. And there it is. White House do it today. Oh, round table. Round table at 2 p.m. The cabinet room. Oh, President and First Lady arrive at the Kennedy Center Honors last night. I forgot that was going on. Make out what they were saying.
How have you prepared to host tonight? Well, maybe I haven't prepared. Maybe you want to be a little bit loose. If you look at the great hosts, Johnny Carson, Bob Hope, those are the greats. If you look at the not-so-greats, like Jimmy Kimmel, he was just terrible. But no, I think you want to be just loose and not a lot to prepare for. You know what you have to be? You have to be yourself.
How have you prepared?
I bet he did a fantastic job, didn't he?
What's your next step in Russia-Ukraine talks after last week's negotiations?
So we've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including Zelensky, President Zelensky. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it. Russia, I guess, would rather have the whole country when you think of it. But Russia is, I believe, fine with it. But I'm not sure that Zelensky is fine with it. His people love it. But he hasn't read it. So someday you'll explain that one to me, Jeff.
What's your next step in Russia-Ukraine talks after last week's negotiations?
So we've been
Film will be out January 30th. First Lady says. Looking forward to it. 20 days, in my busy life before inauguration.
And First Lady Melania, can I ask you about your upcoming video? Can you tell us anything about that, your film?
My film will be out on January 30th, so I'm looking forward to it, and I hope people will come and see it. It will be 20 days in my busy life before inauguration.
And First
Interesting. First I'm hearing of this. News Films, my new production company? What? Melania, the film, exclusively in theaters worldwide, January 30th, 2026. What in the heck? God, this guy, I swear. Total idiot. That can't be them. Nope. Nope, that's definitely not them. Interesting. I guess there's no trailer of any kind. January 30th, 2026. Well, I'd love to know more about the freaking production company, darn it. Love to work for it. Okay, in your opinion, what makes a song great?
Mr. President, you mentioned some of your favorite songs. In your opinion, what makes a song great?
Well, it's something that has to be soft and soothing to your ear. I like some songs that other people don't like, you know. That's why they have, you ever hear the expression, that's why they have menus in restaurants. We're all different. We all order different things. Otherwise, you just serve one meal and that would be it.
Are you a country music fan?
But I love country music. And we have the king of country music tonight. So that's another one.
Mr. President, you mentioned some of your favorite songs. In your opinion,
So how did he do? Who watched it last night?
Tell us what tonight means to you here at the
Well, it really means we're bringing back the capital, Washington, D.C. If you look back a year ago, it was a very unsafe place. Beautiful, but unsafe. But it wasn't properly kept. It was not in good condition. Now it's in very good condition. And as you know, crime has been brought down to a level that nobody's ever seen here before. So we're very proud of that. Thank you very much.
Tell us what
Oh, there's Brunel.
Yeah, look, the president gave us $250 million to redo this place in the big, beautiful bill, and we've been working hard on it. There's a lot that we can do up front, but there's a lot that we got to do behind the scenes. We need a new roof. We still have leaks. When I arrived here, the fountains didn't work, and the lights didn't work, and people were getting stuck in the elevators. And so we've really had to change a lot of that. We continue to change that. We also changed the programming so that it was common sense programming, and I have a finance background, so what I just simply did, I didn't cancel a single show. I just required all of our shows and all of the future shows to take ticket sales into account and donors and corporations. Between those three revenue sources, if you can't get to zero and not lose me money on your programming, I can't sign the contract. And all I was saying is, it can't just be ticket sales. I understand that because we have 19 unions here. Productions are really expensive. And it's not fair just to say ticket sales alone. But if you have a program that's a little bit niche, a little bit unknown, then you're going to have to bring a donor or a corporation that says, this is a good message, this is a good product, I believe in it, so I'll write the check. And so combining the corporations, the donors, and the ticket sales together to get you to zero, I don't think it's too much to ask for. I think it's responsible, and we need to be responsible so that this place goes forward. It wasn't responsible here before I got here. When I arrived, we were paying staff with debt reserves. And if you understand basic economics and finance, that is a terrible thing, and it's not sustainable. You will ruin this place if you continue to have to pay through debt reserves. We had no money in the bank. Today, I'm proud to say that in this one night, we've raised $23 million, which blows the doors, almost doubles what they did last year. In 10 months that my team has been here, we've raised $130 million and growing, which is way more than we've ever seen for this place. I think changing common sense programming has attracted corporations. Tonight we have Boeing, Delta, and CBS. And these are corporations that are giving more than they ever have because they believe that the programming and the family programming is responsible. So.
Interesting. Okay, let me see what I missed in all that. There was at least one thing in there here. Luigi Mangione returns to court after New York City prosecutors released photos of his possessions at the time of his arrest. Like the backpack contents, I guess.
The defense attorneys routinely try to suppress incriminating evidence obtained during an arrest. They cite Fourth Amendment unreasonable search and seizure. Here, though, it's not unreasonable because the law well recognizes an exception, and that is police are allowed to search a bag if it's incidental to an arrest for obvious safety reasons, exigent circumstances. You don't want to discover a bomb belatedly in the backpack of a suspected assassin during the arrest. So I doubt that the seized evidence will be excluded, which means what was found is likely admissible, and it's highly incriminating. Handwritten notes, a journal implicating Mangione, as well as the alleged murder weapon and a homemade silencer. But even without all of that evidence, you've got the guy on videotape. And so, a conviction is pretty strong.
Yeah. Oh, Kiss drummer Peter Criss. Here's his faith and comments on Pope Leo.
You said you're very Catholic and observant. What do you think about Pope Leo?
He's great. I think we got a good Pope.
Excellent.
I'm glad we got one right away because usually, it takes a while. But I would like to see Cardinal Dolan because I love him to death, and he's a New Yorker, and I got to meet him. And when he hugged me, I turned 10-year-old Walter boy again. I went right back to my parochial school days. But I think he's going to be great for us. I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be another Pope Paul, but I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be great for us Catholics. He's going to do a great job.
And you as a young man, how do you feel about it?
About Pope Leo?
Yeah.
I'm Catholic as well, so I would say I'm a fan. I'm hopeful.
All the time.
You're a younger generation, so how do you feel about him?
Right. I think I'm optimistic.
Didn't he just answer that?
At the end of the day, he's the Holy Father, right? So.
I think she didn't quite like the answer she got. Oh. All right. Johnson says this year's National Defense Authorization Act helps advance President Trump and Republicans' peace through strength agenda by codifying 15 of President Trump's executive orders. Oh, okay. Ending woke ideology at the Pentagon, securing the border, revitalizing the defense industrial base, and restoring the warrior ethos. Legislation includes important House-passed provisions to ensure our military remain the most lethal force in the world and can deter any adversary. Roots out Biden-era wokeism in our military, restores merit-based promotions and admissions to service academies, prohibits contracts with partisan firms, counters anti-Semitism, and halts harmful, unnecessary programs like CRT, DEI, and Climate Initiative. Okay, as made clear, the past few decades of investments propping up Communist China's aggression must come to an end. This bill includes important guardrails to protect America's long-term investments, economic interests, and sensitive data. Bill, that's the pitch. Back here. Where'd you go? Oh, gosh darn it. Why it does that. We gotta scroll again. Now we've gone too far. Oh, nice. There we are. All right. Only the Senate is in session today. Nominations on the table. Work on healthcare continues behind the scene. No, like, man, I swear. All right. I want to format itself correctly. Ridiculous. Okay. Try that again. Much better. Elon has some work to do on his UI. Falls apart like every freaking 30 minutes. All right. There we go. Edie Seralta? Do not know him. The director of the U.S. Marshal Service. He's leading the federal deployments in D.C. and Memphis. Showed him my interview with a young boy, Braylon from Memphis, who told me it's been pretty dangerous. I couldn't really go outside or play. And generally, whenever I turn on the news, there's a lot of shootings in my area. Aw.
Well, I wanted to surprise you with something this morning. You mentioned children being able to go out and play. We talked to one of those children. This is a young man named Braylon. Beautiful.
Dude. Where?
Smart little boy. You've made his life a lot better in Memphis.
Whatever.
Here's what he wanted to share with you when I spoke to him a few weeks ago.
I couldn't really go outside or play. And generally, whenever I turned on the news, there's been lots of reports of shootings in my area. So,
yeah, that's very scary. I can't imagine what that's like. And Braylon, what's it like now that the National Guard's there?
Well, it's been pretty peaceful now. I just kind of made it a thing for me to go outside and also practice my trumpet. And I feel like the crime rate has just slowed down a little bit more.
Gaddy, because of what you and your agents are doing, Braylon can now play the trumpet on his front porch. You guys get demonized a lot, but what's your response to that?
Well, that's why we do it. That's why we do it. I'm honored that the president appointed the United States Marshal Service to lead these amazing federal partners. and there's 31 different partners in Memphis, and 30 here in D.C. And I have to tell you, this is why we do it, right? And yes, unfortunately, there are times where our partners, our task force members like Sarah Beckstrom and Andrew Wolf are needlessly gunned down, and then they try to murder 2 of them. One's still fighting for his life, and I've spoken to their parents, and they're thankful as well because they're doing God's work here in the capital of this nation. And I certainly am grateful. And that child that you put on TV, and I appreciate that very much, that's what fuels our tank.
Well, I couldn't hear like any of that, so I have no comment whatsoever. I have no clue what was even said. Can't hear a damn thing when those fucking pipes are running. Noxious. Federal Reserve, you guys can't hear it, but it's just like deafening. Federal Reserve expected to begin buying back an all-time high $45 billion of debt each month beginning in January. Interesting. Senate expect, that's definitely, certainly appear to be pretty good news. I wonder what the data looks like going back in time. Senate is expected to vote on Democrats' bill to extend the ACA tax credits as Trump heads to Pennsylvania tomorrow to pitch his economic agenda. Ooh.
So that bill that is expected to hit the Senate floor this week is a Democratic proposal. Dems are pushing for a 3-year extension of ACA subsidies, something Republicans have made clear they won't vote for. So Senate Dems were pressed repeatedly by the Capitol Hill press corps last week whether they want to fix the problem of high health care costs or if this is a messaging issue. Republicans, for their part, are also split between members who want an overhaul of Obamacare and those who are worried about the political consequences of high premiums. Some lawmakers say it is time for bipartisan solutions.
I think we can get the best of both worlds here by having a short-term extension of the premium tax credits with guardrails, with income caps, and also have HSAs in the mix where money will go directly to the individual rather than to the insurance company, and construct HSAs in a way that allow them to be used for health insurance premiums.
Regarding the topic of messaging, a Wall Street Journal report states that President's aides have been taking their turns talking to him about the need to emphasize what voters are feeling on the economy. The president has called affordability a Democratic hoax, blaming former President Biden for high prices. Some of his administration officials have adopted a similar line, but also acknowledged they're working to make progress.
I will tell you that the affordability has 2 components. There's inflation, and then there's real incomes. Real incomes are up about 1%. We've been working on it every day. I was on your show on March talking about affordability. We've made a lot of gains. Interest rates have come down. The bond market just had the best year since 2020, and now we are working on inflation, and I expect inflation to roll down strongly next year.
The president is taking his economic message on the road with a trip to Pennsylvania tomorrow.
Interesting. We're in Pennsylvania. I don't know where he's going. EU chief says that Europe cannot accept U.S. threat to interfere. By what? What are you talking about, ho? Interfere how? What we cannot accept is the threat to interfere in European politics, Costa told a conference in Brussels. What, you mean like telling you losers to stop dumping third worlders into your own nations? Daring to tell you maybe you shouldn't do that? I don't know what else it could be referring to. Yeah. Yep, whining about Trump lambasting Europe as an overregulated, censorious continent, which they are, lacking in self-confidence, absolutely, and facing civilizational erasure due to immigration. Yes, precisely. They're mad. He's right. Who is this bitching about it? Antonio Costa? Oh. Well. Okay. Whatever, Antonio. I don't think he's going to like what's coming next. Leslie Stahl and Marjorie Taylor Greene did an interview.
It's the most toxic political culture, and it's not helping the American
people. But you contributed to that. You were out there pounding, insulting people.
No, Leslie, you people. You, scum in the media, started the whole fucking thing. You and all your friends.
Leslie, you've contributed to it as well with your own part. Yes, you're accusatory, just like you did just then.
I know you're accusing me, but I'm smiling.
You're accusing me.
I am accusing you.
But we don't have to accuse one another.
I want you to respond to what you have done in terms of insulting people, yelling at people, and then saying...
I'd like for you to respond for that.
I don't...
No, you can respond to that.
I don't insult people.
You do, in the way you question, and you're
call people Nazis and fat... Like, get out of here, Leslie.
Accusing me right now. It's the most...
Wacko. Nigeria has just secured the release of 100 Christian school children kidnapped from St. Mary's School. Wow, yeah, most persecuted religion on earth, you bet. President Trump has kicked the Nigerian government into overdrive on saving Christians from extermination, and maybe it will finally pay off. These, wow. Are these people out there now? I assume so, because they're the Supreme Court is taking a look at the case just announced the past few days, right? Supreme Court said Friday, it will decide the legality of President Trump's executive order that seeks to end birthright citizenship, which automatically grants citizenship to nearly everyone born in the U.S. Terrible. Issued at the start of his second term, the plan is the first from Mr. Trump's immigration agenda that the Supreme Court will evaluate on the legal merits. Oh, here they are blabbing about it. This should be fun. Come on, CBS morons. Let's go.
The Supreme Court says it will decide if President Trump can limit the constitutional right to citizenship at birth. President Trump issued an order at the start of his second term in which children born in the U.S. to parents who were either in the country illegally or on a temporary basis are not recognized as U.S. citizens. Birthright citizenship has long been understood to be required under the Constitution's 14th Amendment. CBS News politics reporter Melissa Quinn joins us now. Good to see you, and thanks for joining us. Do we know a timeline yet on when the Supreme Court will take this up, or the significance that it will in the first place?
So we can expect the Supreme Court to hear arguments in this case sometime next year, with a decision.
Oh man, we gotta wait that frickin' long. Oh,
likely coming down by either the end of June or early July.
Yet 6 whole months.
Now, this birthright citizenship policy has been the cornerstone of the president's immigration agenda, but it has actually not yet taken effect. Every single lower court to weigh the constitutionality of this policy has ruled against the Trump administration and blocked the administration from enforcing it against babies who are born on U.S. soil, either to people who are here temporarily or who are in the United States illegally. So this will be a massive case for the president and could really impact one of the key policies of his immigration agenda.
What can you tell us about the main arguments for and against this?
Well, as you mentioned at the top there, the 14th Amendment has long been understood to confer citizenship on people who are born in U.S. soil. But the Trump administration is arguing that that is wrong. And it has said that interpreting the 14th Amendment in this way can have destructive consequences
Let's see how the new CBS covers this under, what's her name, Barry Weiss.
Consequences for the U.S. Now, on the other side of the coin, you have plaintiffs represented by the ACLU, and they are saying that the Trump administration is asking the court here to rewrite over a century of understanding, and that in and of itself would have harmful consequences for the nation.
I know that this is very new, so you probably haven't had a ton of time to call sources and get sort of what the legal experts are thinking right now. But does the current makeup of the court lead you to any hypotheses?
Well, look, I mean, I think the Trump administration has fared pretty well before the Supreme Court, but those are in instances where the court has been issuing these preliminary decisions. They haven't yet reached the legal merits. I think despite that track record for the Trump administration, this could very well be one of the cases where the Justice Department loses. And it is because of that long settled understanding of the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause. And the Supreme Court has looked at this before, way back in 1898. And there it said that birthright citizenship, or that citizenship, is tied to place of birth. So I think this is going to be a bit of an uphill battle for the Trump administration here.
She's probably right about that, unfortunately.
All right, Melissa Quinn, thank you so much.
President Trump has signed an executive order to establish foods.
Shut up, guy. Shut up, guy. Yep. Guess we'll see. We'll see in 6 months or so. I don't want to wait that long to find out how that's going to go. Oh. Thousands of illegals found registered to vote in Texas. Thousands of illegal immigrants registered to vote on state voter rolls. Over 1 million ineligible registrations have been removed in Texas. In Texas alone. That's a really big deal. A lot of ineligible registered voters.
Texas has found thousands of illegal immigrants registered to vote on state voter rolls. Secretary of State Jay Nelson saying the potential non-citizens were flagged through a recent federal database cross-check. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris, joining us. So Texas used a tool recently given to states from the Trump administration to verify the citizenship, Jeff, of those on its voter rolls. Tell us more.
Earlier this year, President Trump ordered DHS to give states direct access to its SAVE database, which allows election officials to confirm voter citizenship against immigration and naturalization records. Texas then used that tool to cross-check its registered voters. Texas Secretary of State Jay Nelson announcing this week a cross-check of the state's 18 million registered voters against federal citizenship records in the SAVE database found over 2,700 possible illegal immigrants registered on its voter rolls. The SAVE database has proven to be a critically important data set and one of the many that we will continue to use in Texas to ensure that only qualified voters cast a ballot in our elections.
That is quite a change from prior administrations, which always put up red tape and tried to prevent this.
The findings now leading to an eligibility review across the state's 254 counties. Governor Greg Abbott also chiming in, saying since Senate Bill 1 was passed in 2021, which introduced new voter roll restrictions, over 1 million ineligible registrations have been removed. We will continue to actively safeguard Texans' sacred right to vote while also aggressively protecting our elections from illegal voting. The announcement in Texas comes amid growing national scrutiny of voter rolls. Georgia, Arizona, and Florida conducting similar audits. Spakovsky telling us Virginia is also taking notice.
They announced that since 2014, they had removed more than 10,000 aliens from their voter rolls.
Plus in Ohio, election officials announcing earlier this year it's removing thousands of inactive voters SAVE identified as deceased. And in Louisiana, officials identifying 79 likely non-citizens who voted in at least one election since the 1980s.
Oh, wow.
I know for certain that there are other states like California and
that's where the focus wish really was, but of course we're not going to get that there. I mean, ever.
New York, who have no interest in this.
Now, Texas was among the first states to partner with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to compare its voter list with that SAVE database. Nelson says each flagged voter has...
Unless, of course, they can get some kind of law through eventually, you know, in the future at some point. I don't see how they're going to do that now. Definitely not, but maybe in a future administration. Trump set to unveil $12 billion in aid for farmers hit by tariffs. Huh. Texas Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is expected to announce she's running in the 2026 Texas Senate race. Some point today, she's announcing. Zelensky says territorial issues and security guarantees remain unsolved after 3-day talks with the United States in Miami. Oh, he's in Miami, huh? Partying it up? Cocaine City, huh? In an interview with Bloomberg, the Ukrainian president said negotiations stalled over territorial questions. There's a vision from the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine, but we don't have a shared view on Donbass, Zelensky said. Ukraine also insists on a separate security guarantees agreement with Western allies, primarily the U.S. There's one question that I and all Ukrainians want answered. Russia starts war again, what will our partners do? Yeah, Trump's going to pull out of this shit. It's been absurd for fucking, like, a long time already. And it just continues to get more and more so. Every freaking time this guy pops up as a meeting. Faulting. All right, let's see. Trump Jr. told a conference, oh, well, there you go. The president may walk away from the Ukraine war.
I want to focus on Ukraine because, of course, as you say, you're both here in the capacity of business leaders, but you've also been instrumental in shaping the message of the administration. You talked about Europeans, and Europeans are concerned that Ukraine is going to be abandoned. Are those fears valid?
I don't think Ukraine is going to be abandoned, but I think for years, again, it was the same thing as the last answer, which is, well, we want to attack Russia. We want to do this. Well, when it comes to actually writing a check ourselves, no, the U.S. is going to do it. The American public doesn't have an appetite for that.
I mean, obviously, Ukraine has a massive corruption issue, and as you say,
it was a far more corrupt country than Russia, as delegated by the United States government prior to this war. But then, because of the war, and because he's one of the great marketers of all time, Zelensky became a borderline deity, especially to the left, where he could do no wrong. He was beyond reproach. Years of corruption, years of graft and theft on a world stage that everyone in this room knew was happening was totally absolved. And it's ridiculous. We're not dealing in reality.
But is your hunch that President Trump is going to walk away?
I think he may. What's good about my father and what's unique about my father is you don't know what he's going to do. The fact that he's not predictable, he's not following the playbook of every clown who's, again, been a bureaucrat for decades, you don't know. And so that forces everyone to actually deal in an intellectually honest capacity, which has not happened in far too long.
Huh. Well, there you go. Don Jr. himself would seem to agree that Trump will ditch this shit. He should. This asshole is just, like, ridiculous. There's no dealing with it. Okay. Novelist Robert Surtees once said there are 3 sorts of lawyers: able, unable, and lamentable. Probably true. That view is never truer than this week as the Supreme Court hears from a liar, maybe more controversial than the underlying case itself. Oh, Mark Elias. make a controversial appearance as DNC counsel before the Supreme Court. Oh, shit. Which case? An election case that will require at least 2 conservative justices to join their liberal colleagues. DNC picked one of the most polarizing and controversial attorneys in the country, Mark Elias. It still doesn't mention what case this is. Just talking about Elias. All right. Well, we're gonna see him in the court here, coming up soon. Oh, this is a short thread. Hold on. There's more. Elias clearly has supporters who value his aggressive reputation and past work for democratic causes, yet many view his record as deeply troubling, including some on the left, apparently. This includes his role in the funding of the Steele dossier. Yeah, bingo. During the Clinton campaign. Damaged goods. Poison. And why they're... Because they're stupid, that's why. That's why they're touching them. Generally, parties seek to focus courts on the merits rather than the lawyer chosen for an appeal. The DNC appears to have discarded that approach. Making his appearance even more intriguing is Elias's past criticisms of the conservative justices individually and as a group. Before the normally staid court, it is a moment not to be missed. Yet for many, using Elias to defend the integrity of the election process will be more than just lamentable. It borders on the laughable. Bizarre, yeah. Very strange move by them. I don't know what they could possibly be going for with that. Do they really not have anyone else? Rep Ilhan Omar admits she took donations from Somalis who were part of the fraud scheme in Minnesota, the $1 billion fraud scheme, and counting.
I want to pick up on where the Treasury Secretary just left off. He alleged that people who were tied to you or your campaign were involved in this broad, brazen scheme to rip off the Minnesota state welfare system. Do you want to respond to that? Do you know what he is referring to?
I really don't, and I don't think the secretary himself understands what he's referring to. We obviously had people who were able to donate to our campaign that were involved. We sent that money back a couple years ago. And actually, I was one of the first members of Congress to send a letter to the Secretary of Ag asking them to look into what I thought was a reprehensible fraud that was occurring within the program.
I want to pick up on where the Treasury...
Bullshit. All of it. Oh, come on now. Well, we just, I don't know where it just sent me, but gotta search for our spot again. I don't know why it does that crap, man. There we go. I think that's it. Oh, no, nope. That's another one. Okay, continuation. Here we go. Ilhan Omar says the person who led the Somali Medicaid scam was a Caucasian woman who claimed racism in order to keep the money flowing to the Somalis. What?
Because, as you know, one of the initial defenses by the organization at the heart of the fraud, Feeding Our Future, was to claim the probe was due to racism. Do you think that this was all about negligence or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. And that was her way of making sure that this would continue to happen by using whatever rhetoric that was available to her. We do know that when the money was stopped, they did...
It stopped?
The AG, Attorney General Keith Ellison, defended the department in that lawsuit. It was a judge that said it should continue, that money should continue to go out. And so this wasn't something that people were not looking at. There was always those alarms, and we will continue to understand where things might have gone wrong as these investigations continue and as these fraudsters are prosecuted and sent to jail.
Well,
gobbledygook. You're one of them. Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, you know, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
As a broad general statement, you are 100% correct. They definitely did not envision, well, a country being invaded by Somalis. I don't think that's what she meant, but no, they didn't envision this. What an astonishing thing to fucking say. Like, my God. This one needs to be at the front of the line back to Somalia, okay? Skip her to the front. Illegal in Rochester, Minnesota, detained by ICE on Sunday for deportation. The woman recording goes insane, yelling that it's illegal and a kidnapping.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, she can barely speak English herself. I was like, I should probably check you out too.
What are you guys doing?
¿Cómo está?
That's illegal. You guys leave him alone.
That is an illegal. Yes, that is an illegal. That is an illegal immigrant. We will not leave him alone.
Leave him alone. You guys cannot do that. That's illegal.
Can too.
Call 911. Call 911.
What the fuck? What are they gonna do?
They're doing kidnapping.
They doing kidnapping.
That's illegal. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Smile me, sir. Smile me, ma'am.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. You guys are doing kidnapping. Kidnapping. This is called kidnapping.
No, it's called deportation.
Kidnapping. This kidnapping.
Deportation.
Call 911. Naima, call 911. Piece of work.
Piece of work? No, you.
This is called kidnapping.
Dang, Minnesota sucks, dude. All these people got to go. Every last one got to go.
Sorry, this is illegal. This is kidnapping. Kidnapping. It's called kidnapping. Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
Illegal.
Now you. All right. Dude, it's done this like 50 fucking times already. Pardon me, but what the heck? Like, getting sick of this. Lose my freaking spot in the pile every other minute. All right, where were we here? Close. There we go. Video we received Saturday afternoon, December 6, 2025, of an ICE raid in the 900 block of McAndrews, Minnesota. Unconfirmed reports say 2 people arrested in the raid. Let's see. Oh, boo. Oh, wow. Out in force. Took up the whole dang street, whole cul-de-sac. U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is now surging production at a dormant furnace, meaning hundreds of Americans will get new jobs. That's cool. Really be something to see Pittsburgh become Steel City again. I mean, it's still Steel City, but like really, like living up to the name. They're here illegally. They broke our laws and are criminals. Why is this so hard for Democrats to understand? Because they benefit from the criminals. "33-year-old Honduran illegal immigrant Oscar Solorzano appears in court accused of stabbing a passenger on the Charlotte light rail. Yeah, a couple days back on Friday.
Yeah, this guy has no respect for our border or apparently our laws.
Stabbed on the same train as Zarutska, right?
Police say the suspect allegedly broke into a railroad car while intoxicated before stabbing the victim. DHS confirming the man, 33-year-old Oscar Solorzano of Honduras, is a twice-deported illegal migrant with a lengthy criminal history. Take a look. He was deported by the Trump administration back in March of 2018 and then re-entered illegally during the Biden administration in March of 2021. He was then deported a second time before re-entering illegally again. The suspect also has prior convictions for robbery and other violent arrests. He's now charged with attempted murder for the stabbing, among other charges, after allegedly breaking into the train with a large fixed blade knife and challenging the victim to a fight before attacking him. The stabbing happened on the same train, as you mentioned, where 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death just months ago by a suspected career criminal. President Trump reacted saying, quote, "Another stabbing by an illegal migrant in Charlotte, North Carolina. What's going on in Charlotte? Democrats are destroying it like everything else, piece by piece." It comes as border czar Tom Homan sounds the alarm on the damage done under President Biden.
We knew there's over 600,000 illegal aliens with a criminal record walking the streets of this country. These are more than 2 million people who crossed the border under Joe Biden and got away. They weren't fingerprinted. They weren't vetted. They paid more to get away. So this is what President Trump's committed to. We're working with ICE and DOJ to locate every one of these criminals and remove them from this country.
The suspect is due in court today, and officials say the victim remains in the hospital and right now is being treated for serious injuries. Hopefully.
Nice. Ed. He's posting the snake poem this morning. Bright and early. Up and at it. And what that needs to be posted. Prototype to production in under 12 months. The Saronic OTA proves how we'll build a hybrid manned-unmanned fleet. Open competition, real contracts, and real hardware for sailors and marine slides. What's this? Drone boat? Drone boat. Interesting. Freaking unmanned boats. Interesting. Very interesting. So what do they... It must just be for surveillance, like sensor tech for both undersea and surface. Can't think of why else they would do it. Relatively small. The weapons. It's brilliant though. All right. Great business idea. Someone's gonna make freaking bank on that. Ironic. Oh, already following him. Okay. Running for House, 33rd District. Who dis? Colin Allred of Texas. Former NFL linebacker and civil rights lawyer. is out of the Senate primary. So he's ending his campaign for the U.S. Senate, and he's running for the House also, I guess. So he's ditching the Senate, focusing on the House campaign. A weird one. No, that was the thing. Thailand launches airstrikes along disputed border with Cambodia. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. It was last night. Okay, this morning, Thailand's Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul has declared that the peace treaty with Cambodia, signed roughly 2 months ago and ensured by both Malaysia and the United States, is now void, while ordering the closure of all additional negotiation channels with the country. Wow, stating that this is only between Thailand and its adversary, Cambodia. Wait, does that mean closed all additional negotiation channels with, like, us, with the USA as an intermediary? It's kind of what it sounds like. A little unclear, but let's see what we can find out. Definitely not good. Thursday. About last hour.
On the Cambodian side of the border with Thailand, a huge plume of smoke rises above the villages there after the Thai military launched airstrikes. And on the Thai side, its military says this video was shot by soldiers sheltering in a bunker. The sound of explosions echoed across several locations along the Thailand-Cambodia border on Monday, forcing people to take cover. This is on the Thai side.
Wow.
Both countries accuse each other of breaching a ceasefire brokered by US President Donald Trump in July.
Thailand never wants to see violence. We insist that Thailand has never initiated...
So who did it? Who did it? Who was the first one to...
the clashes or encroached whatsoever. But Thailand will not stand for its sovereignty being violated and will proceed with appropriate measures.
The Defence Ministry of Cambodia strongly condemns the inhumane and brutal acts. These clearly show that the Thai side violated the ceasefire and the joint declaration between Cambodia and Thailand.
In October, Donald Trump and Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim oversaw the signing of an expanded peace agreement between Cambodia and Thailand. It was supposed to calm a simmering border dispute between the two countries that had erupted into a 5-day conflict in July. But with both sides exchanging fire again, more than 385,000 civilians are being moved away from Thai border areas, according to the military. While on the Cambodian side, civilians are also reported to be moving away from the border. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and experts.
Shut up, lady. So, like, who violated it? Who was the original violator? Who drew first blood? I don't know. My money's on Cambodia. Paris Louvre Museum says that the water leak damaged hundreds of works just weeks after the brazen jewel heist. Can't catch a break, I guess. Ukrainian President Zelensky is meeting with European allies in London. The latest American peace push in Ukraine.
Ukrainian President Zelensky is meeting with key European allies in London. This as President Trump again criticizes Zelensky, saying,
do we have anyone there? Or is it... Curious who's at this meeting.
He's not ready to accept the U.S.-backed peace plan to end the war in Ukraine.
I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it, but I'm not sure that Zelensky's fine with it. His people love it, but he hasn't read it.
Britt Clennett is on the ground in Kyiv.
Maggie, Russia unleashing massive attacks across Ukraine this weekend. We saw firsthand the destruction at a train station just outside of Kyiv. You can see where the station has been hollowed out by the impact. Firefighters clearing through the bits of twisted rubble, working through the building, which is...
Leftists and Somali insurgents in Minneapolis surround unmarked ICE vans, throwing objects and blocking escape routes during a federal deportation raid last night. Ridiculous, man. Right. Oh, doing it again. Okay. Now then, DC police chief to step down. Remember this idiot? Moron? Didn't even know the difference between, what was it? There was some question she answered like a complete idiot. Wish I could remember what it was. Made headlines for a while, 6 months or so ago. Like Code Pink has moved on from Gaza. So they're on Venezuela now.
Not a penny, not a dollar. Not a penny, not a dollar. We won't pay for war and slaughter. We won't pay for war and slaughter. Not a penny.
Wow.
Not a dollar. Not a penny, not a dollar. We're not going to take it no more. We're fired.
Oh, there's Medea. There's Medea Benjamin.
Not one thing no more. Money for healthcare, not for war. Money for healthcare, not for war.
To read the editorials of the Wall Street Journal to understand
Trump's lies.
Shut it down.
Imperialism.
Shut it down.
Endless wars.
Shut it down.
The whole damn system.
Shut it down.
It's out of everywhere.
You are out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No a la guerra.
No a la guerra.
Huh? Can't understand you.
Contra Venezuela.
Speaking English. Trump posting today, there must only be one rule book. There must be only one rule book. If we are going to continue to lead in AI, we are beating all countries at this point in the race, but that won't last long if we're going to have 50 states, many of them bad actors, involved in rules and the approval process. There can be no doubt about this. AI will be destroyed in its infancy. I will be doing a one rule executive order this week. You can't expect a company to get 50 approvals every time they want to do something. That will never work. This is a tough one. Because it's true. Just on its face, like, yeah, we will absolutely fall behind China at this rate because they don't have to deal with that kind of bullshit. But then, like, on the other side, what is that going to turn into? Like, when these AI companies just have all shackles removed and basically do whatever they want. Unlimited power and nation state support. Money pouring in, public and private. I don't know, man. Sounds like a recipe for Skynet. Racism. Democrats are livid. The pipe bomber is black. Oh, I bet they are.
Maybe, what he says? No, maybe he put a bomb at the DNC because he believed the Democrats stole the election because Republicans and conspiracy theorists pushed that, and he put the bomb at the RNC because the vice president who was about to be sworn in was going to ride by that area. There are many scenarios that the prosecution will have to play out this case. But I'm gonna say the thing out loud that I think everyone is not saying and is actually surprised, and why I think Jeanine Pirro is actually saying it. I think the fact that this man is a black man is surprising to people. I think people thought this was going to be a white man that did this. They were going to be able to say he was a part of the progressive left.
I thought it was going to be a lady.
And the fact that it's a black man that is saying, I too was susceptible to conspiracy theorists that the president and conservative podcasts were pushing that this election was stolen is a fact that they were not expecting. And now everyone is on their heels and they're trying to spin it. And I think that might be also why you think, let's not believe his actual story right now.
Like
he's trying to get both
certainly
sides.
Possible.
I mean, so
I want to hear what the rest of these idiots are saying about this. I've really delved into the mainstream takes on all of this, especially from crowds like this. But that could get kind of interesting. Miami's mayor race is Tuesday. It's a big and important race. Vote for Republican Gonzalez. Trump says he's fantastic. You can also vote today. Make America great again. Tucker Carlson has announced he is officially buying property in Qatar.
Last question. I've been personally, not to make it about me, but I have been criticized as being a tool of Qatar. And I just want to say what you already know, which is I've never taken anything from your country and don't plan to. I am, however, tomorrow buying a place in Qatar. Both because I am in Doha, yeah, and I'm doing that because I like the city. I think it's beautiful, but also to make the statement that I'm an American and a free man, and I'll be wherever I want to be. Last question.
Interesting. Oh boy, Kinzinger doing a media tour here. Founders of this country knew that a guy like Donald Trump would come along. They knew it.
So, look, you have been a Republican in Congress. Was this your experience as well? The idea of what's happening behind the scenes and what's happening in front of the cameras and what Republicans have to balance between coming out against President Trump, but also knowing that maybe they don't agree with him or that it's not good for their district?
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, these members of Congress, and I'm not saying this is a cheap shot, I've just lived it. They're not doing their job. Your job, according to the Constitution, is to represent the best interest of the 700,000 people for a member of the House. They do. But there was a congressman in the south part of Houston. He just announced he wasn't running again. His name slips my mind. But he, at one point, at the beginning of this term, said, my job is to do exactly what Donald Trump tells us. If he says jump, we say how high. That's the mentality. So Congress is basically, look, the Constitution.
No, that's what his constituents voted him into office to do.
The founders of this country knew that a guy like Donald Trump would come along. They knew it. What they never expected was a Congress that would willingly give up its power like it has. So what Marjorie Taylor Greene's saying is right behind the scenes. They're scared to death. If they trust you, they'll tell you, like, this is awful, but they absolutely will not come out against him. Even when they're not running again, Jessica, they don't come out against him because they don't want to hurt their ability to make money with the contacts they have after their time in Congress. That's why people that aren't running again stay quiet as well.
Wow.
Wrong. Right. When two Google engineers were told by the company that their AI chatbot prototype was unsafe for public release, they left to form the company Character AI, which launched in 2022. 2 years later, parents are suing the company, alleging that harmful content on the platform led their kids to suicide. Yeah. Heard some messed up stuff about Character, for sure.
Shazir and DeFreitas were engineers at Google when
It sounds like Shazir now is, again, an engineer at Google and co-lead of the Gemini project.
executives deemed their chatbot prototype unsafe for public release. They both left the company in 2021 and launched Character AI the following year.
I want to push this technology ahead fast. Like, that's what I want to go with because it's ready for an explosion, like right now, not in 5 years when we solve all the problems.
A former Google employee told 60 Minutes that Shazir and DeFreitas were aware their initial chatbot technology was potentially dangerous. The employee, familiar with Google's Responsible AI group that oversees ethics and safety, said of the lawsuits, "This is the harm we were trying to prevent. It is horrifying." Last year, in an unusual move, Google struck a $2.7 billion licensing deal with Character AI. They didn't buy the company, but have the right to use its technology. The deal also brought founders Shazir and DeFreitas back to Google to work on AI projects. Google is also named in the Character AI lawsuits. In a statement, Google emphasized that Character AI is a separate company, and Google is focused on intensive safety testing.
Well, yeah, again, it sounds like they've hired one of these guys back, Noam Shazir, made him co-lead of Gemini. NEC director Kevin Hassett. Oh, yeah, we watched that. Adam Schiff laments that Trump wasn't prosecuted fast enough to be put in prison. He blames Merrick Garland for being just too darn nonpartisan. Oh, that's hilarious.
Higher ups.
Merrick Garland.
Why did Merrick Garland move so slowly? What about his...
Because he's a wet noodle.
...character or tactics or strategy led him to behave that way?
The Justice Department in the first Trump was abused and made partisan. And he wished to restore the department's reputation for independence. Now, what they did in the first Trump Justice Department is peanuts compared to today. But nevertheless, Merrick Garland wanted to restore the reputation of the department for strict nonpartisanship.
That's hilarious.
And
oh, come
that
on,
made
Adam.
him very reluctant to pursue an investigation of the president. Too reluctant. Ultimately, that gave the Supreme Court the time it needed to drag things out further and make the case against Trump go away completely when it could have been brought to fruition. And we might be in a very different place today. Higher ups.
Why did Merrick Garland move so slowly? What about his...
New York City trial attorney Nicole Brennicky says statistics show repeat offenders are on the rise. in the wake of the deadly Charlotte train stabbing, but the growing pressure on courts to move cases along quickly is putting violent suspects back onto the streets. Yeah. Duh. What? That's strange. This guy makes art with a typewriter?
How many little clicks does it take to make the whole piece?
Oh, I mean, in excess of at least 500,000.
That's pretty cool.
English artist James Cook has been picking up millions of views on social media as he types up anything from the Golden Gate Bridge to Robert Pattinson.
It's really neat.
So I'm using one hand to move the typewriter, and then I'm using the right hand to actually do the typing.
James says this art form has been around since the Victorian age, but he first started experimenting with it while he was studying to be an architect in college.
In the background, I loved making these drawings so much that I just took it on as a hobby.
It's really cool. Weird. Look at that. Like old school ASCII art. That's amazing. But way more. Do way more with this than you do with the computer. Type on a computer. Amazing. So cool. Steve Scalise, GOP bringing a number of healthcare bills to the House floor. Week. Mali immigrants in Minnesota used a random name generator to create fake names of children to get paid. Somalis would create nonprofits, go register with the Secretary of State's office, create a nonprofit, then filed to join the food program. The day after that, they were claiming to feed 5,000 children a day. The children did not exist. They created spreadsheets where they just used a random name generator to make up names of non-existent children to show to the state. We really are feeding all these kids, but the kids didn't exist, and the food didn't exist. Money just dumped into their pockets.
Remind us, logistically, how were these people able to pull off this massive fraud scheme? Was it just overbilling?
Right. It started out as overbilling. So the Child Care Center might have 60 people officially enrolled on their books, and 30 would show up on a given day, but they billed as if all 60 showed up. Just straight up overbilling. Over time, it evolved into a much more brazen scheme where they would create nonprofits, go register with the Secretary of State's office, create a nonprofit, and then file to join the food program. And literally, one day they didn't exist. The next day they existed. The day after that, they were claiming to feed 5,000 children a day. The children didn't exist. So you mentioned the spreadsheets where they just used a random name generator to make up names of non-existent children to show to the state, we really are feeding all these kids, but the kids didn't exist, the food didn't exist. So it started out as overbilling, and then it became billing for non-existent stuff. They just send invoices without bothering to buy food or actually feed kids. And that got extended in some of these other programs like the Housing Stabilization Program or some of these other programs like Addiction Recovery, where they're billing for services not provided, billing for goods not provided. And the government, state government, was just paying the invoices, no questions asked.
Zelensky arrives at Downing Street in London for key meeting with European leaders on Russia's war in Ukraine. Huh. Wow. Waymo says it will issue a voluntary recall of its robo-taxi software after school bus safety concerns came to light earlier this year in Texas.
Well,
what happened?
It is pretty automatic for most drivers. You see a
Oh, they're not stopping for school buses. Jeez, that's
school bus with its stop sign extended, and you stop your car so that students can get off safely. But not to mention also it's the
Oh.
law. Some cities say Waymo's robo-taxis, though, they're blowing through those stop arm signals and they're putting children's lives at risk. So after our Nexstar investigation, Waymo has said it fixed the issue, but the city of Austin, Texas says the violations continue. NewsNation's Xavier
there it
Walton,
goes.
he joins us now from Dallas. So Xavier, the company says they've made the software change.
Wow. That's scary. Mayor-elect Zoran Momdani released a video outlining New Yorkers' rights during encounters with ICE after an attempted raid in Manhattan, pledging that his administration will safeguard immigrant communities while protecting the city's constitutional right to protest.
Last weekend, ICE attempted to raid Canal Street and detain our immigrant neighbors. As mayor, I'll protect the rights of every single New Yorker, and that includes the more than 3 million immigrants who call this city their home. But we can all stand up to ICE if you know your rights. If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. That looks like this. If ICE does not have a judicial warrant signed by a judge, you have the right to say, I do not consent to entry, and the right to keep your door closed. Sometimes ICE will show you paperwork that looks like this, and tell you that they have the right to arrest you. That is false. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, am I free to go, repeatedly until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE, as long as you do not interfere with an arrest. It is important to remain calm during any interaction with ICE or law enforcement. Do not impede their investigation, resist arrest, or run. One last thing. New Yorkers have a constitutional right to protest, and when I'm mayor, we will protect that right. New York will always welcome immigrants, and I will fight each and every day to protect, support, and celebrate our immigrant brothers and sisters.
Go. Lee Zeldin says the EPA is releasing $3 billion to remove and identify lead pipes across America. Huh.
As you just pointed out, Maria, these lead pipes are the key source of lead in drinking water, which is a potent neurotoxin, especially for children. This $3 billion that's going out across America is going to help in removing lead pipes and also identifying lead pipes. This year, we have been able to dig deeper into the data, and the new estimate of the amount of lead pipes across this country is actually now 4 million, where previously it was estimated to be 9 million. One of the advantages of going out and collecting the data is now we have updated information for this entire country. And on top of the $3 billion of new funding, I'd also point out that we're also putting out $1.1 billion of redistributed funding from other states that weren't going to put to work money that they had received in the past.
Woman claims to have driven 3 hours to confront a man who left a mean comment on one of her social media posts. The post was apparently in relation to the Tennessee District 7 special election last week. The woman who showed up at the man's work had him read an apology letter out loud before leaving. What? He actually did it? He actually read the letter? Turbo Karen.
Hello, I'm looking for a mic. Does a mic work here?
Yeah.
Can I speak to him?
Sure. What's this about?
Are you Mike?
Yeah.
Can I step inside? It's cold. Sure. Thank you. How you doing? How you doing? Nice. So, a couple days ago, you left a comment under somebody's comment section. Do you remember that by any chance?
Not really.
It was regarding Tennessee District 7. Yeah, well, John, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I was that person that you commented under. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Crazy world. But I just wanted you to know, you see how easy I found you? It's not cool, right?
No.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you the opportunity and apologize, or I'm gonna show your wife the Grounded account I found. How do you feel about that? Right, it's crazy.
What, Grindr account?
Crazy world out here. So I did make this apology.
This is... I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
You don't have to.
This lady faked this whole fucking stupid video for clicks on TikTok.
I understand it's hard, but all you have to do is read this nice little apology I wrote. Thank you. Go ahead.
I, Mike, do apologize for my actions. And I see the consequences of my actions.
Can't believe a thing anymore.
Say it louder.
I will not do this to anyone else ever again.
Oh, good job.
Think about the type of person it takes to spend hours and hours and hours of their day scripting, thinking about this, coming up with the idea, finding some idiot to read the script on the other side of the camera, for someone to play Mike, all for TikTok clout.
Yeah, I need that.
From Black TikTok.
For other people. It was really nice meeting you, and
Ridiculous. This is so insane. By their numbers, Somalians contribute less than $900 a person to local and state taxes combined. Matt Walsh, Matt Walsh says, I'm sure you understand that's incredibly low. All right, let's see.
I was dumping on the Somalians way before it was cool. Am I proud of that? Yeah, I absolutely am.
So by their numbers, Somalians contribute less than $900 a person to local and state taxes combined. I'm sure you understand that is incredibly low. That's actually lower than I thought it would be. I assumed that it would be something very low, but if you had asked me to guess, I would have said, they probably, on average pay a couple thousand. I don't know. I was optimistic. I was dumping on the Somalians way before it was cool. Am I proud of that? Yeah, I absolutely.
More than 62,000 migrant children have been rescued by the Trump administration and saved from evil conditions, including sex trafficking and forced labor after they crossed the border under the Biden admin. Yep.
More than 62,000 children have been rescued by the Trump administration and saved from things like sex trafficking and forced labor. This is the claim being made by border czar Tom Homan. Here he is on Fox and Friends Sunday.
Over 500,000 children were smuggled in this country under Joe Biden. They released them to unvetted sponsors. They lost track of 300,000. Over 62,000 children found by the Trump administration. Children that weren't even being looked for under the Biden administration.
Critics of the administration say that 300,000 figure there comes from a Homeland Security report last year that says 291,000 migrant children were allowed into the country without being given notices to appear in court, and that there was no way to track them, not that they were all lost and trafficked. More than 62,000 children.
Wow. Got a few. New audio and video. Real the chaotic aftermath of a one-time Alaska airline pilot's attempt to shut down the engines of a passenger plane mid-flight. What?
We're learning new details tonight about a terrifying mid-air scare in 2023.
I don't remember this one, but what the heck?
New audio reveals the chaos in the cockpit after an off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot tried to shut off the engines of a passenger plane. And tonight, new video of his arrest. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Tonight, new audio and video revealing the chaos in the cockpit as a former Alaska Airlines pilot tried to shut down the engines of a passenger plane in October 2023.
What's wrong?
What's going on?
Horizon Flight 2059 was heading from Everett, Washington to San Francisco when off-duty pilot Joseph Emerson, riding in the jump seat, tried to pull the fire suppression handles and putting the lives of 83 other people on board in jeopardy.
We need to go direct to Portland now.
The plane making an emergency landing at Portland International Airport. This material, first obtained by NBC's Portland affiliate KGW, also showing Emerson under arrest, admitting he had taken psychedelic mushrooms 2 days earlier.
Oh, that one. Okay, vaguely remember that.
And had not slept in 48 hours.
The mushrooms guy.
I was trying to wake up. I don't feel like this is real.
Emerson pled guilty in federal court to interfering with flight crew members. He was fired by the airline and lost his pilot's license. Emerson telling ABC News in 2024 that he wishes he could take it all back.
I bet he does. Man, that sucks. Took too many mushrooms, man.
Did something unfathomable to me. Something I have to take responsibility for, and I regret.
Lindsay, Emerson was sentenced to time served. He and his wife have since started a nonprofit focused on mental health support for pilots. Lindsay.
Jacqueline, thank you.
Wow. I don't want to mess around with that. Oh. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says his department is tracking funds. Tracking funds stolen during the COVID-era Minnesota welfare fraud scandal that was allegedly sent overseas, including to Somalia and the Middle East. The investigation launched last week aims to follow the money and determine its use. Oh, I bet it went to some dirty shit.
Massive fraud out in Minnesota in the state welfare program has been under federal investigation since all the way back in 2022. The president told you, though, this week to look into Somalis who, quote, ripped off that state for billions of dollars. He said they contribute nothing. What exactly are you investigating?
Well, Margaret, to be clear, the initial fraud that was discovered by the IRS, for which I'm the acting commissioner, was discovered by IRS Criminal Investigations Unit. This was not an endogenous thing that the state of Minnesota decided. We had to go in and clean up the mess for them, and this is part of the continued cleanup. A lot of money has been transferred from the individuals who committed this fraud, including those who donated to the governor, donated to Representative Omar, and donated to A.G. Ellison, but they've been transferred to something called MBSs. And those are
mortgage-backed security. What do you mean?
Sorry.
Transferred to what?
These are money the Bureau services, and they are wire transfer organizations that are outside the regulated banking system, and that money has gone overseas. And we are tracking that both to the Middle East and to Somalia to see what the uses of that have been.
Okay, but
what was that about MBS?
You have no evidence of that money being used to fuel terrorism at this point, which is what some conservative writers are alleging.
That's why it's an investigation. We started it last week. We'll see where it goes. But I can tell you that, it's terrible. The Representative Omar tried to downplay it, said, oh, it was very, it was very tough to know how this money should be used. Yeah. She was gaslighting the American people.
Well, we'll talk to her.
Yeah, but when you come to this country, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on. You got to learn to stop at stop signs, and you got to learn not to defraud the American people.
Well, there are plenty of criminal behavior from communities well beyond the immigrant community, but we'll.
Oh, fuck off, Nora, you idiot.
We'll talk about this with Representative
Sick freak
Omar shortly. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Good.
What a dumbass. Like, what an obnoxious, stupid idiot. Kelsey on Trump's job performance. I think he's kicking ass.
Hey, Kelsey, can you tell us what you think about Trump's job performance so far in his first term or second term?
I think he's great.
What issues are you most concerned about that he's doing well on?
Well, I think the economy's actually going really well.
I think so too.
And we'll see what happens in the next year or so. I mean, what I always love is when the Democrats start talking about affordability, you always know they're going to charge you twice as much.
Kelsey Grammer, man.
That's been 3 times.
I love Kelsey Grammer. Great actor.
They get a house in Malibu where we get built again? Not this side?
Thanks, guy.
Based.
What do you think about Trump's job performance so far in his first term or second term?
He's great.
Yep. One of the good ones. Good old Frasier. Yeah, I love him in... What's that show he played the mayor of Chicago? Chicago? Let me see. Yeah, it was Chicago. Boss. Fantastic show. If you've never seen Boss, go give that a watch. Where can you... Oh, look, you can find that shit for free on Tubi. There you go. Yeah, this, like, blew my mind. I was so used to Kelsey Grammer as Frasier growing up. This is completely different. It was quite a show. Great political drama. One of the best, actually. All right. Another win for President Trump. Average price of gas now below $3, $2.95 a gallon.
Dollars a gallon in June of 2022. That, of course, in the Biden administration. $2.95 now. Investors are waiting for dollars a gallon in June of 2022. That
nice. A judge blocks federal prosecutors from using key evidence in the case against Comey, citing possible improper access.
Next tonight, the Department of Justice is facing a setback in its attempt to possibly re-indict former FBI Director James Comey. On Saturday, a judge temporarily blocked federal prosecutors from accessing key evidence in the case. Let's bring in ABC's Olivia Rubin. Olivia, what are you learning tonight?
Lindsay, tonight the Justice Department potentially facing a major setback in its efforts to prosecute the former FBI Director James Comey. A judge temporarily blocking the government from using key evidence in the case, finding it may have been improperly accessed when Comey was indicted earlier this year on charges of lying to Congress, allegations he denies. That critical evidence came from the computer of Comey's longtime friend and was obtained by DOJ years ago. But the judge finding DOJ may have accessed it again without getting a new warrant, a move that could have violated the law. The ruling is just the latest blow to the Comey case after the indictment was dismissed by a judge who found the Trump administration unlawfully appointed the prosecutor who brought it. Now this is just another potential setback as prosecutors weigh whether or not to try to indict Comey once again. The Justice Department ordered to respond in court this week. Lindsay.
Olivia, thank you.
Oh, wow. Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau hard launched their relationship on social media, laying to rest months of dating rumors, which, of course, they totally had no part in. Creepy. Creepy Katy. Ugh. Paramount Skydance launches hostile bid for Warner Brothers Discovery after Netflix wins bidding war. Really? Huh. Paramount Skydance. I mean, I'd feel better about that than Netflix. But still, I mean, Paramount has their own streaming service. At the very least, they started out as a, and continue to be a film company. I don't know, man. Not looking good. Exclusively on Sunday Futures with Maria Bartiromo, the 55th Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, spoke about former Special Counsel Jack Smith seeking his personal phone records as part of Arctic Frost.
Joining me now with more on all of this is the man himself, the 55th Speaker of the House, former California Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Speaker, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Great to see you, Maria.
And it was just a little while, was it a couple of weeks after you became the Speaker of the House, the highest Republican in the nation, okay, the Speaker of the House, was it just a few days later or weeks later after you were sworn in that you were actually tracked by Democrats?
Yeah, we're just learning. The weaponization went beyond just trying to go after President Trump. It went after all Republicans. And remember, when they went after my phone number, my phone log, they didn't tell AT&T it was my phone. They didn't tell me. They didn't tell anybody else. And they just went to try to find all. They went much further and longer duration than they asked for the senators' phones as well. Now we're finding out they also went after Jim Jordan's phone. They would go after any political enemy they thought was out there. It's the true weaponization of government. And we're just now getting this information. And when we first found out about it, thanks to Senator Grassley and Senator Johnson and what Jim Jordan has been working on, AT&T said, no, they didn't provide my phone number, but they did give the phone logs we find out now. But the first question is, what crime did all these Republicans actually propose to have committed? Just being a Republican? Being the leader in the House? The Speaker of the House? That's what they wanted to go after my phone log for?
That's unbelievable. And I know that at some point AT&T said, no, we didn't do what Verizon did. We pushed back and said, look, we're not going to get involved in this. But you're saying, in fact, they did send over the phone records of your number, even though they didn't know it was your number.
At the very beginning, they said they did not do that because they thought they caught themselves. Because normally if someone went after someone's phone log, they'd have to show proof. There'd have to be some reason for Republicans, and they wanted to go after my phone log.
Unbelievable.
Why? They wanted to look at every constituent that called me, every leader that I talked to, every other Republican or Democrat I talked to, or any foreign leader I talked to. They thought they had a right to try to track us and understand whatever we were doing. First, let's find out why Jack would do that. The weaponization of taking this government.
Yeah, why? What was going on?
And going after business to go and spy on Americans.
Yeah. Kevin, real quick, do you believe this is the right forum for Jack Smith? I mean, how is he going to explain himself? Is it right that he should be behind private doors, or do you I know in a public hearing, each lawmaker only has 5 minutes, so it's limited.
Well, I want to get to the information. So if it's behind closed doors, I trust in Jim Jordan. Let's get all that information, but let's not this be the only hearing. Let's bring a number of hearings out, but we've got to get all the information because
story just gets deeper and deeper. 82 truck drivers detained in Alabama on ICE holds since late October. 12 of those detained did not have a license of any kind. What?
82 truck drivers have been detained in Alabama on ICE hold since late October. It is part of a new state crackdown on commercial drivers. Governor Kay Ivey says 12 of those detained did not have a license of any kind. Our Shelby Myers in the studio now. And Shelby, you spoke to the Alabama Trucking Association about this.
Yeah, I did, Camera. The president and CEO says this crackdown will hopefully weed out what he calls bad actors in the trucking industry.
Multiple fatal truck crashes led the U.S. Department of Transportation to promise a crackdown on issuing commercial driver's licenses, or CDLs. One of those deadly crashes happened in Thomasville over the summer. A Ukrainian-born truck driver ran a red light. He crashed into several cars, killing 2 people. He was in the U.S. on a visa and had a valid license, but he does not speak English. English proficiency is required for a CDL. Alabama joining in on the crackdown. Governor Kay Ivey announcing a partnership between ALEA and ICE. They're targeting major interstate corridors where truck traffic is heavy. Governor Ivey says troopers referred 242 people to ICE during 2 operations over the past 2 months. Of those, 82 drivers were detained based on their immigration status, and 12 of those did not even have a driver's license of any kind.
When I talk to truck drivers and professional drivers and small business owners, they're frustrated because they're in a tough economy. On one side, they get attacked by lawyers and frivolous lawsuits, and on another, unfair competition for people who break the rules and don't operate fairly and unsafely.
Mark Colson heads the Alabama Trucking Association. He says some foreign drivers' work visas expire, but their commercial license stay valid. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has issued a directive to states to align the 2 timelines. Duffy says he is also planning to shut down about 3,000 drivers' training schools nationwide. He says they failed to meet training standards, and some are accused of falsifying training data. The list
Sorry, I'm surfing through Facebook here, trying to find some sentiment from my unique circle of professional acquaintances on the recent twist in the Brothers deal. Haven't seen that. It's coming. Everybody was talking about Netflix offer. Bad it'll be for the arts generally. Anyone talking about the Paramount offer? That could mean, but it sounds like that just fresh from. Oh, cool. I love finding interesting stuff for sale on Facebook. Wish I could afford it. Let's see what's. Second flight carrying Iranians deported from the U.S. has departed America, Iranian officials said, as Washington reportedly planned to send hundreds of prisoners back to the Islamic Republic. Second flight of deportees carrying 55 left the U.S. What the heck? Gatlinburg, Tennessee, some bystanders scattering as a black bear just starts walking down the street before a parade.
This weekend, a black bear joined the holiday fun in Tennessee. Take a look. The bear showed up for the Christmas parade in downtown Gatlinburg Friday night. He walked the parade route.
Mr. Bear!
As several people clearly scattered, but most were not scared away. This weekend, a black bear.
Yeah, bear probably more scared than any of them were. Poor bear. He was a good boy. A nice boy.
Several people.
He's a good.
Clearly scattered,
bear.
but most were not scared away.
They just wanted some honey or something, you know? Straight to the point, directed energy weapons. What? Oh, Havana Syndrome. She's talking Havana Syndrome. Who with?
This week, new developments in our... It fundamentally disrupts the brain.
Okay, she's talking to... a former Defense Department staffer. Says she was hit with a Directed energy weapon in 2015. No, she talks to that person, and then no, like who's this guy? Oh yeah, she talks to this person.
This week, new developments in our year-long investigation into directed energy weapons that target U.S. government personnel, including military operatives, diplomats, and spies. Based on our reporting, there appears to be a false narrative that these attacks began in 2016 with a cluster of cases in Cuba. The debilitating neurological symptoms are commonly known as Havana syndrome. Christy, who asked us not to use her real name to protect her identity, was on the...
What? I mean, I can see your face, lady. Interesting. Let's keep going here. We just got a couple minutes left. Mike Benz. My first instinct when I see a politically motivated arrest in a country is to see if USAID has set up a rule of law program there to capture its judges and prosecutors, and so far my instinct has never been wrong. Yeah. Not bad. Idea. And Trump demanding an apology from CBS or else. What? Screw Rupar. Let's read the actual post. The only reason Marjorie Trader Brown, green turns brown under stress. Okay. Went bad is that she was jilted by the President of the United States. Certainly not the first time she has been jilted. Ooh. Dang. Too much work, not enough time, and her ideas are now really bad. She sort of reminds me of a rotten apple. Marjorie is not America First or MAGA because somebody could have changed her view, or pardon, because nobody could have changed her views so fast, and her new views are those of a very dumb person. That was proven last night when washed-up, Trump-hating 60 Minutes correspondent Leslie Stahl, who still owes me an apology from when she attacked me on the show, with serious conviction, that Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was produced by Russia, not Hunter himself. Totally proven wrong. Interviewed a very poorly prepared trader who, in her confusion, made many really stupid statements. Ooh. My real problem with the show, however, wasn't the low IQ trader. It was that the new ownership of 60 Minutes, Paramount, would allow a show like this to air. They are no better than the old ownership. Yep. Who just paid me millions of dollars for fake reporting about your favorite president, me. Since they bought it, 60 Minutes has actually gotten worse. Oh well, far worse things can happen. P.S. I hereby demand a complete and total apology, though far too late to be meaningful, from Leslie Stahl and 60 Minutes for her incorrect and libelous statements about Hunter's laptop. Signed, President DJT. Well, it looks like Barry Weiss is doing a bang-up job at CBS. All right, anything up? Oh, here's the police chief being an idiot. Thank you for finding that stuff.
What the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor?
That's what it was. She didn't know what chain of command meant. What an idiot. Well, she's gone now. Bye-bye. Secretary Rubio delivers remarks. This was just like an hour or so ago. I missed this, but maybe Mr. Fedora will want to play it. Up to him. It's Rubio with Hegseth, Australian Deputy Prime Minister, and Defense Minister Richard Marles, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong at the Department of State. 7.2 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Japan. Here we go. That's the last one up. Let's see it. I was like, whoa, is that it? Like, not that bad. There we go. See some cracks in the street there. Look at that. Wow. Thanks. All right. Cool. Well, that's it for me, you guys. Let me hop off here. Go. Yes, Surf Fedora is here. That'll do it for me. How you doing, man?
Oh man, it's been a wild weekend. I'll tell you, as soon as I got off of my show Thursday, I decided, well, I'm gonna update my Windows since it's been hanging out there for quite a while. Well, that was a big mistake.
Uh-oh.
It took 3 days out of my life being able to be productive.
Yeah, that sucks. Oh, jeez.
It actually turned off. I didn't find this out till last night and was able to get some preparation done late last night before having probably for the first time in 6 months, 6 hours sleep, right? All together, right? Windows actually turned off my, or it muted my mic, and I don't see my mic button because it's underneath. So I spent 3 days, I use voice typing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent 3 days wasting my time and decided I am migrating away from Windows back to Linux, which I was on for about 5 years and never touched Windows. So that's what I'm going to be covering today, too. Those people out there that have a Windows 10 laptop or unit, or I'll be creating a series of how you can turn that into a mighty machine with Linux, and also going to be put together a series of classes on how to use Linux for those that don't have any idea. So that's what my show's today. I got it prepared in the last hour. So,
all right. Well, I'll leave you to it. I got to get out to the grocery here.
All right. Well, you have a great day.
I will. Yeah, back at you, man. I'll see you guys, I think, later. I don't know if I'm covering someone later tonight, but if not, tomorrow.
I'm sorry I missed that. I didn't have my volume up enough.
Oh, you're good. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Okay.
You have a good show, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have a great day and awesome weekend.
Will do. All right, everyone. That's it for me, YouTube. I don't have anything else, and as I mentioned, yeah, gotta jet to the butcher. Actually, going to the butcher specifically. We have a couple of great little butcher shops around here. Sell fantastic products, like really good meat. So we try to get our meats there. We have these freaking, oh my gosh. Okay, so hot dogs made with pork belly. Like really high quality pork belly, like nice like heirloom kind of pig stuff, like the really fancy kind of stuff. Amazing. I never had a hot dog this good. Incredible. Let me find the farm. Where was it? And I've never ever found any other, and I've searched, never found any place that does this pork belly hot dog thing. There they are. They're pricey, but it comes out to like $3 a hot dog. In the end, not too bad. Oh, they don't have a photo. That sucks. Boo. Yeah, we're gonna be grilling tonight with Pops and Dee Dee and the little one, and me and Radix, so we're gonna have hot dogs for dinner tonight. Really nice hot dogs. You ever? I don't know about what you have in your areas, but check out these like little small farms and look for interesting stuff like that. It blew my freaking mind how good that dang hot dog was. So that's what I'm doing today. I will catch you guys. Let's see. Today's Monday. Yeah, I don't know if anyone is filling in for Baddest Uncle Sam's show in the evening today, 5 to 7. So I may see you there. If not, I will catch you tomorrow evening. Bye-bye. Ready to go to the butcher, honey?